Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I thought I'd share a little practice theme or way of practicing that I've been playing with lately that I've just been really enjoying, and maybe you might too. First, just a little bit of preface. I train Tai Chi. I'm using the sort of martial basic training of the Tai Chi system to develop attributes which I mostly apply in daily life. That's the main reason I train and what I train for. I train for attributes rather than form dogma or to try to make the movements of Tai Chi into viable martial art techniques. I'm not a believer in that. I know there are people who are trying to do it, and God bless them, but I've seen a shit ton of street fight videos on YouTube, and I've never seen anything that resembled a martial art, an artsy move. It's usually attributes that win that fight. Things like good footwork, things like good stances, being able to hit hard, powerfully, accurately, agility, distance management, yes, relaxation, a certain amount of relaxation within the movements, all that stuff. So I train Tai Chi in order to develop those attributes so that should I need to use them, whether in fighting or self-defense or just daily life activities to avoid injury and keep my balance, which is I think what Tai Chi is mostly about, at least for me, using gravity to help me find better balance, basically to help strengthen me and also to help relax me. So gravity can do both of those things for me if I have that mindset. So that's why I'm training, to develop attributes that I can then put together in whatever way I need to in the spontaneity of the moment. So one of the attributes that I really train a ton and I really, really value in my life and is very, very useful, all the way up to combat if you want to take it there, is to have have my muscles and my systemic, the feeling in my body on a dimmer switch, kind of a yin-yang dimmer switch, so that I can go from like a super soft, relaxed palm all the way to a very strong and very hard palm, very young palm, that I have a dimmer switch there. It isn't just limp or really, really tense. So working on that dimmer switch is something I do a lot. So when we do our stepping, for instance, so everybody has their dogma about steps. To me, correct stepping is determined by your training goals, not your system or your style or your dogma. What are your training goals first? Then within your system, certain things are going to be correct, and that's great. But to say that they're correct universally, that my system is the true way, seems to me a good way to get into arguments that can't be won. So, in our particular style, we come back, turn out 90 degrees, shift all our weight over there, step empty, and then shift the weight and turn and settle. No, we would never turn, this far away from an opponent, and we would probably not back up and then go this way necessarily in a real fight. But these aren't martial art techniques. This is not meant to be done. This is a battle plan. This is basic training. This isn't meant to survive contact with the real world. So what we're developing here is hip opening. And when I get here, I'm coming up and then I'm going down. I know you're not supposed to go up and down in some systems, but in this system we do. Why? Because I'm training that dimmer switch in that back leg. I don't even have to put the foot on the ground. I can do this many, many times. I can kick off this leg, I can do all kinds of stuff and come right back to that same step because I've developed that attribute by doing this kind of stepping, right? So it's turn, pour the weight down, maybe a little up, then some down, and then some up, and then some down. So I'm training going up in the ground. One of the dogmas of Yang style Tai Chi is no bobbing of the head up and down. Do not have your head go up and down. You show me a fight where nobody's head goes up and down. Of any kind, sport fighting, wrestling, high school sports, all the way up to full-on combat street fighting. You show me a fight where anybody's head is level. You show me a sporting event, a game of any kind where people stay at the same height. You do develop a certain kind of strength staying down here, like you're in a room with the ceiling right over your head, or like Groucho Marx, There's strength to be gotten from that, but it's not the kind of strength that I'm looking to train. I'm looking to train in and out, because when I punch, that's what's going to happen. In and out, up and down, right? That's just the nature of physicality, in my opinion. So we go up and down. So here's that dimmer switch. I'm not just going step with my weight, and I'm not even just sinking quickly and then pushing off. I'm sinking slowly and stepping, and then shifting. There's a dimmer again, right? So there's this constant dimmer switch of up and down. So that's on a gradation there. It's not just up or down. There's all this gray area in between, which is what you need to deal with situations. You need some spring in your legs, and you need to be able to grade that tone so that you don't tense up when you need to relax, and you're not limp when you need to be firm. So, dimmer switch, right? So, one thing I've been doing is just taking a simple movement and starting really soft, and then working up to as hard as I can do it, and then dialing it back to soft again. So I go through the sort of the gradations and just remind myself of the dimmer switch. Because most of the time I'm kind of honing in on that balanced state of yin and yang, equally present and in a dynamic conversation with each other. But sometimes it's really good to take the dimmer to both ends of the spectrum. So a really simple one is just the finger ripple. So what I'm doing here is I'm just curling my fingers in one at a time, then I'm turning my hand over and uncurling them one at a time. Over and in, over and out. Now I'm going to make it a little smoother by when the thumb comes in, I'm going to turn over and go little fingers, and when the thumb goes out, I'm going to curl it in with the little finger. So they're just going to overlap. So I'm basically doing the same thing, right? I'm just not doing it abruptly. I'm not curling in, turn it over, but that's how you get it, the basic idea, right? So you can see maybe from the side is in, out, right? Now that can be done a few different ways. I've done some other videos on this, but you can curl it into your body and then fling it out, curl it in, fling it out, or you can do finger ripples with the teacups exercise, like you're holding a teacup in your hand and you don't want to spill it, so you can also add that. But for our purposes, let's just do the weight shift one. So I'm just pulling back, forward, back, forward. See, I'm using my weight to help me back, using my weight to help me forward, right? So I start off and I do them really soft. So I start doing them like I'm just in a room full of cobwebs. I do close my hand, I do open it. I'm going through the same motions, but slow and soft. Barely any tension at all. And then I start to grab a little bit more, engage the core, and pull with my whole body with a kind of an isometric feeling of like just closing firmly and almost tearing or ripping with my hands. And I do, 4 or 5 like that. And then I do 4 or 5 as hard as I can do it. So it's like that. I can't really talk while I do that. So I'm pulling it in, flinging it out, pulling it in, fling it out, and pull it in. And then I do 4 or 5 just medium. I'm still engaged in the core. I'm still pulling, but not as hard as I could. Just medium pull, but definitely more yang. And then I start to relax my belly, soften the abdomen, and just go really, really soft again. Yeah, just barely close, just barely any tension to close my hand. And I just think each time do it softer and softer and softer and softer until I'm just using hardly any energy at all to do the movement there. So having started yin and then gone to medium strength and then gone to as hard as I can and then bringing it back down again, I just feel the capacity of, in this case, this pulling feeling and this pushing feeling of to be able to dial in the amount that I want. So I don't feel like I'm stuck at one end of the spectrum, always being extremely soft or always being extremely on and lots of ward off energy. So learning to feel the dimmer, and then mostly I hover towards the middle in most of my practice, but it's nice to feel either side. You can do this with any movement. I'll just do like our version of parting horse's mane in place. Whatever version you do, you can do it in place. You could probably just do this, right? Switch feet, go. Switch feet, go. So I can do it as soft as I can and try to really relax and feel the flow, connection to the core, but very soft. No real muscle, hard strength involved. And then I start engaging my core and doing a little bit more firmly, a little bit more energy, a little bit more of that isometric feeling like I'm covered in saran wrap or something and I have to burst out of it. And then go to as hard as I can do it. And then medium. Softer, and then as soft as I can do it. And then I just keep going softer and softer. So I find that going soft to firm to soft every once in a while, I don't always practice this way, but every once in a while, every season or two, I'll take a week or I'll take a few days and I'll just play with that idea, no matter what it is. Any Qigong exercise, I could do it soft and relaxed, or I could go, it's a super engaged core, strong isometric feeling in the muscles, versus really, really soft and using just the minimum amount of strength. So I think softness is great, but it's not enough. I think firm and strength and power is great, but it's not enough. Not enough for health, not enough to be effective, not enough to be efficient and energy efficient, and not enough to avoid injury. If you want to avoid injury in life, whether you're fighting or not, it's really a good idea to know the soft and know the firm, to know them both, consider them equally important. Because sometimes strength and power, just even brute strength and power, can save your life. And sometimes softness, even just being utterly and completely limp, can save your life. So it's good to not get too dogmatic about hard and soft, I think, because life is very variable. So it's good to be neutral, and it's good to be able to go hard, and it's good to be able to go soft, depending on whether you're carrying a box of bricks or whether you're carrying a baby, right? So it really matters to be able to dial in that stuff. And this is one way I do it. I just take a simple movement, whatever that is, and I do it as slow as I can, or I can be doing a form, and I'll just be working my way through the form, and as I go, I'll think softer, softer, softer. Then I reach a point where I just can't get any softer, and then I think firmer, firmer, firmer. And every movement from then on in the form, I go firmer and firmer until I can't go any firmer. Then I start backing off and start going softer until I can't go softer anymore. Then I go firmer and firmer until I can't go firmer anymore. So it's just a nice way to test out, sort of suss out that dimmer switch. And hopefully when you go back to just your regular practice with whatever your normal training goals are, you'll have more of a sense of the variability of your body and the dimmer switchy ability to dial in the amount of whatever you need that you need. Okay, so thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I have tip jars all over this YouTube site and all over my website. If you feel like contributing to what I do, always happy to get a tip, no matter how small. And but no worries about that, totally optional. I'm just putting this out there to be useful. If it is useful to you, let me know. It's always nice to hear. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.